Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Blue Archive reaction. Today we have themes 208 and 217. Apparently these are two songs that were related to the last one, but I just didn't know it. And a few people have requested these over time, but this was the most liked on the last video because of that exact reason, that I apparently landed on number 3 of 3, and I completely missed the first two. So I'm going to be listening to those and see how they're related, feel them out, and just kind of listen to them as I usually do and see what my opinions are. So without further ado, let's go! Ooh. Immediately love that, like, that dip synth. It's like, that. Love that. It's very subtle. Ooh. God. There's that side chain again. It's so aggressive. There's been a lot of songs recently with that like really aggressive side chain. It's gotta be the same producer doing that. Oh, I'm vibing with the happiness in this one. A little bit of Latin rhythm in there. Loving that. Ooh, break it down. Ooh, ooh, get him. See why this song is called Shoujo Delight. Because if it's one thing I am, it's delighted right now. I'm vibing so hard. I always vibe so well with Blue Archive. It puts you in a good mood right away. Oh, it just ends. Okay, I thought it was gonna do like a bit at the end, just like finishing it off that way, but apparently not. So yeah, like what a delight. Totally fits the name of the song. That was so fun. And like, this is another one of those songs where I've said negative things about the sidechain before, how it doesn't work in some places. This is a song where like, yeah, I noticed it, especially in the very beginning and very end, and it especially worked at the end there. It just had this perfect dip and everything was kind of going with it. At the beginning, I was a little bit more surprised by it, but that's just because they didn't do it every time. They kind of like waited for a measure and then brought it back, and like that was kind of unique, but also it wasn't like in a bad way either. It was still being filled in. So I didn't really get any moments of like, man, that was kind of gross. I didn't like that. But God, that was just so fun. Like, every single time I listen to a Blue Archive song, all I can think of is, man, that was a good time. I had a good time listening to that and just experiencing the moment there. It's just such a blast. The energy that goes into these is so fun. And I know that's kind of the vibe of the game as well. It's what a lot of people say, that it's supposed to be kind of upbeat most of the time. There's obviously sad moments in there due to story, but like for the most part, the themes that they have are just very upbeat and very poppy, and I love it. It just brings my mood up every single time. And not every single time, but a lot of the time, there's a single characteristic in a song, a single synth used, a single concept being brought in that really stands out to me. And this one, it was definitely that like synth dip in the beginning where like it was scooping into the full note. And that's something I don't really hear too often. I do hear it in some other Blue Archive songs, but this was the first time where it was like really up front and center and not playing a supportive role underneath other synths and such. So it just worked worked out really well. The bass line for this was absolutely just a blast. It was just super bouncy. I never felt the energy drop at all. Just like with most of the songs from Blue Archive, you really don't feel an energy drop. There's very rare moments where that happens. Usually it's like the whole song is pretty low, and like that's the point of the music there, is to keep that energy static. And this one, no different. That's just a good song, just really fun, and had all the lift to it. I'm kind of curious to see where this connects to 217, and I believe they said there was a connection to 217 and the 234 that I had listened to before, so like I'm pretty sure that this is going to be interesting to hear, but I do know that these two are pretty well related. Like, you're going to notice a lot of similarities between the two, so I'm very, very curious to see what that like short segment that connects it to that other one is, and I guess I won't know what that is until I listen to it. So without further ado, let's go! Oh. Well, that's pretty obvious there. Just sharing that exact motif. Ooh, I felt it going down, and I'm so glad it went down. Could have gone up, but I love how it went down. Just so natural. Lots of resolving downward. Love the sound of the waves crashing, you know, like, that static sound. Beautifully ambient. This is the type of thing, I mean, where like one is usually really upbeat and the other is really low. Ooh, little crunch. Got some dissonance on those notes. God, this is fucking gorgeous. I love that dissonance. I love that. I'm geeking out so much right now. This is... What a beautiful arrangement. What an absolutely phenomenal arrangement. That might be my new favorite, like, piano-specific song. That was gorgeous. What an arrangement. What a way to fit everything in there, too. Like, what a callback to the prior. And I did hear that relation in there to the next. Man, I'm going to be geeking out so hard about this one. Oh no, buckle up. All right, so I took the last maybe 15 minutes and I've just been playing around with the song, playing over it, messing with the chords, enjoying myself, truly. This is in the key of D. It's one of my favorite overall keys, as are the other two versions of the song. All three of these songs in this trilogy are in the same key. That tracks, especially when you want to use them as motifs. It makes sense to keep things very close in key, if not exactly the same. So given that they can really easily translate to each other and allow for those motifs to shine through exactly as intended. But the main bulk of the song is based around three chords in the key of D, of course, and those would be B minor, G, D, and then G, which is also D. It's a variant of it. But like, the whole point in here is like, there's so much to work on in this. Like, right there is B minor, then you can make it a seventh, and it's just boop, bop, 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 and it's using that A. So it's like, there's so many things to do with this song, and one of my favorite parts of this is this relationship they have where, like, I had mentioned that the D is in there, and it's, of course, the main root of the key, but how they use the chord of D in this one's kind of interesting because it goes from D to G sharp to A like usual, but instead of using that A that makes the D chord, they drop that A down to a G, which usually would sound pretty crunchy right next to its flat brother right next to it. And that doesn't feel like it works, but it does create that crunch that you were hearing during the song. And then you get this when you play them in an arpeggiated form. I love that so much. It's so pretty. And then you can actually drop that down to a D flat, and an A, and then you get... It's pretty in the exact same way, but slightly different. And they kind of play with that. That arpeggiation happens throughout this, and I love arpeggiations, especially when they modify the chords like that, because you get this beautiful D chord that you can arpeggiate, but it doesn't quite sound as sad. But if you drop that A down to the G, there's almost like a hopefulness to it as compared to the original again. That one's more of like an uplifting feeling, where this one has that crunch in there. So it feels like there's a question mark there instead of an answer already being handed to you. It makes you think about the song a little bit. It makes things a little bit more contemplative. I love that so much. There's a lot of other chords used in here, by the way. Like, it's not just those three that I mentioned. There's also C in there. I think there's an A in there as well. Like, it does play around a little bit. There are some variants tossed in, but like, overall, I think the beef of that is definitely this relationship here on that arpeggiation, and of course, that other version in there. It's just so good. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. The using arpeggios in general makes things feel really floaty and ethereal, and it's just, you're sitting here above everything. It's like you're flying through the clouds. But God, when they make it with a song that's just this emotionally welled already, there's so much here. There's so much flexibility. There's so many roads you can take, so many paths sprawled out in front of you. And when they take things like this D chord in here and just changing it slightly to add that crunch to make it just a little bit more of a question, it's so good. This is the type of music theory shit that really gets me going, and I absolutely adore this song for making me do that. This has got to be one of my favorite piano straightforward arrangements that I've heard on here. I've said that a few times, but this one's topping out the other ones I've said it about. Every once in a while, I'll find a new favorite. I think this is my current favorite one. Still love the other ones, of course, but man, this one really made me go. I was, kid you not, sitting here just playing over it, just kind of diddling around the key of D on top of the regular song and just doing solo stuff and having a good time the whole time through and just feeling things out. And it takes up so much space on the piano. You go up and down so many different octaves. There's so much to do with this song. You can really go wherever you want in that key, and it just sounds good no matter where you are, as long as you stick to those. And you can say that about any song, but man, it feels so beautiful when you're being lifted up by this amazing floaty track that's just holding everything together. No matter where you go with your hands, no matter what little mistakes you might make, your fingers slipping over to the key next to it, it all works out. It all feels fantastic, and it just makes it feel a little bit more jazzy. And I think that's mostly because of that relationship in there with these little crunches that they already have in the song as it is, and it makes it feel really good. I love also that they fly up to that high A in the song as well. That's just another little thing there, but it just kind of sits up there and it just dings, and it's like, oh, there's an answer to the question maybe from earlier. Hey, it's me real quick again. I wanted to say something that I forgot to say during the main video. I actually noticed that, especially in the beginning, you can hear this like kind of breathy sound being played alongside some of the bass notes. It like comes in as those notes hit every measure or so, and that's that static you're hearing. And eventually that goes from being the start of every measure or so, and it turns into that like static white noise wave sound you get in the background a few seconds in. So if you listen real close in the beginning, if you didn't notice before, you have that effect on there, and it just kind of introduces you to this white noise before it fully throws you into the fray of having that like wave sound effect in there. And it's so cool. That's such a good way to do that. I was way too nerdy about all of the music theory stuff, and I forgot to actually record a moment of me talking about that because I loved that as well, but I had just forgotten by the time I got around. So anyway, back to the main main video. I'm not gonna go on about it. I've been yapping plenty as it is. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm so glad that people have sent me the original 2 in this trilogy and I've been able to listen to them. And now with this one being one of my new favorites, I've got to just give as much thanks as I can. So thank you all so very much for sending me this one and liking the comment on the last one so I can see it. And of course, if you have any other ones, do the same thing down below. Somebody comment a new group of songs I should listen to, and everyone else, if you want me to get to it, please like the comments down below and I will get to the one with the most likes most often. But otherwise, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!